fell, therein, gone revel. You shouldn't be here. But it's so good to see you, Elora.
Did he just say...
No, you've made a mistake. That's not... I'm not. I'm nobody.
You are Elora Danan.
She is Elora Danan. Do we know who she is?
I know who she is because I actually watched the movie last night. Have you watched the movie, Willow?
No. Remember, I purposely stayed away from it. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be. I'm going to be the one that doesn't know the movie, and I'll let you be with the cat butt there.
There you go. There you go.
The one that do the movie.
So yeah, purposely I went and last night I had a bit of a mini marathon where I watched the original movie, which in itself is 2 hours and 4 minutes. And then watched the 2 episodes that dropped, which is, they were each an hour. So I had a little bit of a 4-hour Willow marathon. I enjoyed the movie. I thought the movie was okay. I enjoyed kind of the 80s special effects. It was kind of throwback. Val Kilmer was in there.
Yeah, I seen.
And a younger Warwick Davis. And it was fun. But I think I liked it because I like that aesthetic. Like I like stuff that was made in the 80s, like Never Ending Story and like fantasy movies from that era.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I didn't think the story was incredibly special or anything. Essentially, there's this evil queen who wants to kill off and there's this prophecy of a baby that's born with a special mark that's going to have the ability to destroy this evil queen. The baby's born, it goes into hiding, it's hidden by Warwick Davis's character Willow and his people for a while, and they set upon a mission. They're kind of folks like hobbits. They're simple farming folk, right?
Yeah.
They don't get entangled into things. And their mission, they set Willow off to take this baby to one of a larger human, a baby of its race. They find the first one that they come in contact with is Val Kilmer's character, who's kind of a rogue, kind of and he was really good in the movie too. Val Kilmer, just kind of the smiling, dashing, almost a very like Han Solo. If Han Solo was in a fantasy movie, like he was good, he was fun, and not the kind of person that would necessarily be good at taking care of a baby, but that's kind of where the some of the comedy came through. And at the end, they defeat the evil queen. They save the baby. Val Kilmer falls in love, settles down with that woman, the princess, the older redheaded queen or princess lady that we find in this show, the mother of kind of the 2 younger kids. Well, not younger; they're like teenagers or in their 20s or something.
Yeah. It's been 20 years, so yeah, they got to be in their 20s.
Yeah. But that's where we are. Val Kilmer, of course, it would have been great to actually have him in this show. I don't know what they plan to do because in the show they just address Val Kilmer's character as being missing. But you and I, we've seen, Top Gun Maverick, and he's not in a position where he's able to be on screen.
Not for any long period of time or any type of
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they address that. But honestly, this show, I felt it was okay, but it gave me CW vibes like crazy.
I was bored.
Yeah.
I was halfway tempted. I don't know if you watched it yet. And I'm glad I didn't, because I was gonna text you. Willow equals boring. That's because I watched the first hour, the first episode.
Yeah.
And I just left it. He's like, you know what? I had no one to blow through 2 hours of it in one shot.
Yeah.
And then I went back to it later that night. I watched the second hour. I'm like, I was never enthralled. Like when I was watching it, I was seeing Lord of the Rings. Everywhere I looked, I was seeing Lord of the Rings, from ring rafts to Blades of Morgoth. When he basically left his mark on that one guy and he started changing.
Right.
Saruman, the one that's returning, the powerful one. Hobbits. The Return of the King, as in like who this Laura Denon is.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past any of that. Everything seems so
fantasy.
It seemed like a direct ripoff.
Fantasy. Yeah. I mean, like, to be fair, like a lot of this stuff in fantasy, and it's not just fantasy. I mean, we saw the one in the Matrix and stuff too. Like that idea, even in Star Wars, the chosen one, or the one that's prophesied to bring balance. Like that trope is just like way too prevalent in science fiction and fantasy. And it's no exception here. Like it was,
But
kind
it
of
was
a
so like in your face where like
yeah.
you would have a ring rat came and took that boy, took him away. It's like everything felt like so on the nose to what Lord of the Rings was.
Yeah.
That was what I was struggling with.
I don't mind the story so much because I think Willow had a fairly simple story, and this story, you've kind of got a ragtag group of people that are going on a quest. It's another quest, and I typically like that. The only thing, like, there were some character interactions and some of the acting where it felt low rent. I mean, when I say CW, it felt like a bunch of 20-year-old actors having scenes together that don't really gel, and the acting isn't quite up to snuff, and the writing isn't quite up to snuff. And, it felt very much like a CW show with, like, a shiny Disney Plus gloss of paint over it. And I like Warwick Davis, like, and I think his character in Willow was really like, you and I know him as, under the suit as, like, Wicket, the Ewok, and he's been in some Star Wars stuff, but, like, Willow was his big thing, and Warwick Davis is in Willow more than Val Kilmer is, like, he is Willow, he's the main character in that
Yeah.
movie. And he pulls it off. He's actually very charming and very, you believe his, experience in that first movie. And I think even in this show, you get a little bit of that, but this show has so many characters now that it's almost hard to justify calling it Willow because it takes place in the Willow universe, but it's like he's such a side character now.
Yeah, I mean, it took what, 45 minutes before he even showed up in the first episode?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was a long time before he even showed up, and they didn't even know who he was
right,
when they were looking for this guy. So I don't know. I wasn't huge on the show coming to start with. Like I didn't even know what Willow was or who Willow was when they announced
right.
it. And then it's like, there's a show coming. Let's just go ahead and watch it. It's on Disney Plus. It should be of some type of quality. And I just it didn't move the needle for me at
Yeah,
all. And I'm really questioning if I really even want to watch anymore. Which, I mean, I think we got to at least give it one more episode to see what it does.
right,
But I'm not of the this is amazing. We gotta move forward with it.
right. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from for sure. I think it was, it's tough for us to like invest that amount of time in a show, especially if we're not feeling it from the get go. For us to be like, okay, well, we're gonna still continue to cover the whole season. Sometimes that can be a drag. Peripheral, like the first half of Peripheral, we loved, and then the second half it was just kind of dragging on and on. I like the concept of Willow. For me, there is enough differentials. See, I think what helped me in particular too, it, I honestly felt like I had a better experience watching these first two episodes because I watched the movie beforehand. I
But see,
will.
that should never be a prerequisite though.
N- you're right. I think you're right to a point, but like this one, you have a Willow. This is so connected. I don't know how you can enjoy the show without seeing that first movie. Which, yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to have an opinion, but it's like you're right. But okay, I'll say this. I feel that way with the Marvel universe. Like for me to go into a movie called Ant-Man and enjoy Ant-Man as a movie, I shouldn't have to know the entire back catalog of every single MCU movie that's came before it. That I agree with. I feel like Ant-Man should stand alone. But like a movie that's called Willow about these characters, about this world that was built in this one singular 1988 film that came out, I feel that it is almost a prerequisite. Like you kind of have to watch it. It'd be like watching and enjoying Ant-Man 2 without seeing the first Ant-Man. You know what I mean? Like this is a direct sequel.
The direct sequel to the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I can give you that. I mean, that may be why I didn't enjoy it as much as you did. But I've got no after even seeing these first two episodes, I've got no want to go backwards.
We are though. We're gonna at least cover the third episode that comes out next week. We'll be talking about that, and I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's coverage, the week in TV and streaming and movie trailers, big
That was
movie